point where we started talking about he's a black Jew, he's a black Catholic, he's a black Baptist, he's a black Muslim, really, save for the titles that the papers put on people, then we're in trouble. Our real religion, and the thing that connects us all, is our blackness. The religion of blackness. That's it.
Greetings, folks. This is the Guru coming at you, dropping jewels on you as usual. The mental pugilist, undefeated, undisputed. So never try to box with a mental pugilist. Your arms is too short to box with a god. So today, we're addressing one of the reasons I came onto these platforms. And when you listen to something from the Guru, you're going to get educated, you're going to get enlightened, you're going to be spiritually challenged in some form or fashion. That's what I do. Okay? Hence the Guru moniker. Okay? So what I'm talking about here is, in this case, we're going to take back our name, image, and likeness. Okay? We're going to take back our name, image, and likeness. And you might wonder, well, from who? We're going to take our name, image, and likeness, excuse my French, from the niggas in the holes. Okay? I'm going to play something first from the Conscious Bay. And this is a positive sister that's right on point. And she can say this because she's a black woman. And if I say it to an extent that she's saying it, it may sound and come off as I'm being disingenuous. I'm hating. I'm not open to women's liberation or their freedom to expression. It's beyond that. We're not letting you get away with using that as an excuse to damage the image of black women and black men. Okay? We have a few examples of black women and black men, and these images go out all across the world. All across the world. And things that may be censored here in certain videos and in certain recordings are not censored many times overseas or in other countries. So when these niggas and hoes put out these records and videos and just do certain things that are not representations of our excellence, of who we really are. It's like, check this out. I don't want to see another slave movie. Another slave movie. Because it seems like all they can come... Oprah has a new slave movie coming up. Will Smith just finished a slave movie. We had 12 Years a Slave. We had Django Unchained. Listen, once you've seen Roots, you don't need to see any more slave movies. Okay? This is the image, and this is the reinforcement of an image they want to continue to depict of us. It's over. We're done with it. Okay? Black people. The niggas, these are the people that we have to fight up against. It's literally, we're going to have a struggle and a fight. Black people collectively, our black women, our black men, our black children, collectively, we have to take back our name, image, and likeness. You have some horrible rappers out here. I mean, horrible to the point where they bubblegum raps, popcorn raps. 21 Savage, horrible rapper. But he's going to put out that image. Now check this out. This dude dropped out in like 8th grade. So that's another thing. We're taking all of this direction and following these idiots. A lot of these dudes are idiots. The Kodaks are blacks. The music is harmonic. The music is rhythmic. So I can say anything over the rhythms and you'll still get indirectly what I'm trying to say. So once they put these rhythms in and they know that it's going to get to your subconscious, and then eventually you're going to consciously act out what you've already embedded in you. This is how they change up your image. Take your name and take your likeness and sell it. And sell it as being hypersexual, gangster. And we're none of that. We're none of that. Black people, we're none of that. I'm a Negro with a capital N, proper noun, Negro. All right? Because, hundreds of years ago, when you said Negro, they already knew that was royal. It's not what people think of Negro or black or anything like that now. A job has been done on us as far as our name, image, and likeness is concerned. So that's what I'm saying. I'm a Negro. You can call me Negro any day. Just make sure it's with a capital N. Okay? A Negro from Negro land, the kingdom of Judah. So we have to take back our godliness. Not gods, the omnipresent, but godliness. We have to take back our respect for our women. And when I say godliness, you got to understand that's who we are. Right? So dig what I'm saying. Michael Jordan is a god. He's a basketball god. Nobody's ever done what he's done and played the way he's played. And we probably won't ever see that again in our lifetime. Tiger Woods is a golf god. He's a god. These men have been playing this golf game for hundreds of years. And this melanated man came and blew them out the box, and they couldn't stand him. Fuzzy Zella and all of them. When he won the Masters, they was like, oh yeah, we're going to have fried chicken for the dinner, because you get to choose the dinner when you win the Masters. So these gods have always been at the top of their game. Walter Payton, Adrian Peterson, Jerry Rice, those are football gods. Serena Williams, Venus Williams, tennis goddesses. These ladies playing this game all these hundreds of years, and these two young girls from Compton come in and just blow them off the box. So we have to take back who we are. We're not who they're putting out of us. And let me tell you something, and this has nothing to do with racism, but evidence. Okay? Again, I tell you, I never give you facts because Kellyanne Conway from the former Trump administration said they have alternative facts, right? So I'm not going to give you any facts. I'm not going to tell you the truth because former Mayor Rudolph Giuliani said the truth is not the truth. So don't expect to get the truth out of me. But what I always give you, I give you evidence. I give you indisputable evidence. And you cannot deny the evidence. So when Kanye West was talking all of that, and they wanted to label him as anti-Semitic, but when he was talking about how a certain community was pariahs to our community, he wasn't lying. It's just that his delivery, the way he delivered his message was a little awkward. So that's what people got caught up with, his delivery. All right? And the fact that, you know, if you grow up and a camera is on you every day and you do some stupid stuff, that's going to be attributed to you too. Right? So people are not going to take you serious when you come out with some real knowledge because you've grown. Right? That's all Kyrie Irving did. He grew. So he was trying to show people he grew. That's all Kanye West had done. He grew. So he's trying to show people how he grew. And I'm talking about mentally. All right? So when we were brought to this country, it was a whole mechanism that was in place. It was a whole system that was involved. We, Black Americans, are the regal, royal Negroes from the kingdom of Judah, right? So when we were conquered and we migrated to the south and we went to those native lands where those native Africans were, they were jealous of us because we came with all of our books, our traditions, our history, our culture, our skills. There was judges, lawyers, doctors, clergymen that came from the kingdom of Judah, regal, royal Negroes. Okay? And the jealous Negroes that were the natives, right? The native Negroes, the Ashkenazi Jews, and the Arabs were the ones who were in and running the system and capturing other Africans. So when people say, oh, well, black people sold black people. No, you know, black people in Africa sold other tribes, right? We're in war with different tribes. We catch these people. You know, again, slavery was currency. So they sold other tribes. Just like Hitler wasn't killing white people. He was killing Jewish people. The same as Ukraine isn't killing white people. Putin is killing Ukrainians. So it's the same difference. Black people wasn't enslaving black people. There was different tribes fighting and they were enslaving other tribes. Okay? Let's make that clear. Okay? But what I'm trying to say, it was this group that was involved back then. All right? This particular group. These Jewish Ashkenazi Jews. These Arabs and these native blacks in which we had went into their land because our land was conquered. Right? They were the part of getting us to America. Right? In the time of the Civil War, okay? The Civil War. Ulysses S. Grant had tried to expel all of the Jewish people because they were impeding the war process. Ulysses S. Grant went to expel all of the Jewish people in the war zone because they were still engaging in the practices of slavery. Whether they were selling goods to, other slave merchants, bringing slaves in illegally, whatever they were doing, Ulysses S. Grant wanted to kick them out. So one of the head elite Jews at that time wrote to the President Lincoln. And Lincoln was like, mail at that time it took weeks for mail to be delivered. So when Lincoln got, he was like, listen, don't worry about it. You're fine, stay put. So that was then. But you know what? Let's move up to today. And I will show you that there are 3 record companies. Okay? 3 record companies, not 3 record labels. 3 record companies that are putting out all of this destructive music. This music is a health hazard to our community. And guess what? No black people want to hear this music. Anytime I ask black people, do they want to hear this type of music or this type of language in their music, it's always been 100% no. Not 99, not 99.9, 100% no. So who wants to hear this music? Who are they putting this music out for? This music is being put out to disgrace and destroy the people that we truly are. And we got people that for a couple of dollars, they will sell their soul. So as black people, we just have to say enough is enough. And we got to separate ourselves from the niggas and the hoes. The thoughts. Whatever you want to call these people. We have to get away because these niggas will kill you. And we see it every day in the city and in our towns where we're not safe among, these unsavory characters. So the 3 labels are Universal Music, Sony Music, and I want to say Warner Music, Warner Brothers. And these are the labels that put out, excuse me, these are the record companies that put out all of these other labels. So therefore they wash their hands when people get killed. Now, the last time I looked, it was 365 murders, or deaths attributed to these labels, meaning these artists were on these labels, and these labels were owned by one of 3 record companies. So if you know anything about hertz, about vibration, you will understand that this is putting this music and these obstacles are put in our way purposely. These images are being displayed purposely. Because again, people, y'all have to understand, it's a race. There's no such thing as racism. You want to call it colorism, you want to call it discriminationism, I don't care what you want to call it. But it's no such thing as racism. There's a race, right? So that's the main prefix in that word, race. And that's what it's always been. A race is a contest. Who's going to get to the finish line first? So these people are always trying to come up with tricks to trip you up and slow you down. And that's all it's been. And we have been conditioned to the point that some of us is being enlightened and snapping out of the fog, but a lot of us is just deep into it, deep in the fog. And we can't see the forest through the trees. You know, and if you don't understand what that means, go look it up. I don't have time to explain. But you can't see the forest through the trees. Okay? So we have this certain group of people that's continuing to be on our back and add to the destruction of our name, image, and likeness. Now, I'm gonna let you listen to the sister from the Conscious Bay, and she's gonna explain and talk about our sisters. And then I'm gonna hit you back and I'm gonna give you a few excerpts of what's going on out here, what our brothers are talking about, how they're contributing, how they're talking about how they fucked up the neighborhood 30 years ago. Go hide under a rock somewhere. You shouldn't be telling nobody that. But that's all we have. We have either that, or we have guys talking old war stories about sports. You know, Rasheed Wallace and all these guys telling Jordan stories, telling Kobe stories. Yo, dude, we don't want to hear none of that. We want to live in the present, you know, and move forward. Let's move forward, people. We're at a standstill. We're walking in time. You know, we're like one of them hamsters on that wheel, on a treadmill. You're moving fast, but we ain't going nowhere. So, you know, we almost making what the brother Charleston White said when he said he don't see black people making no more new strides. We're almost proving him right, even though I know he's wrong. But on the surface, it looks like we're proving him right. You know, but when you peel back the layers, we always have been and always continue to be the exceptional people that we are. But check out the Conscious Bay real quick. Here we go.
So I posted something on the Conscious Bay Instagram. If you're not following, please go follow the Conscious Bay. It read, "We are behaving lower than what nature has created us for." So when I had this download, I wanted to make it clear that I'm not picking on black women. I'm a young black woman. However, I have decided to call out all of the fuckery in 2023. And it's time to start holding us accountable for our image as black women. I don't see anyone really utilizing their platform to just call shit out. So with that being said, when I say we need to rehabilitate our spirit and cleanse our mind of the low images the world has taught us, I'm talking about the caricature, the image that many of us have armed ourselves with, which has been painted for us as black women to work against us as black women. So nonetheless, because of this perception of who we are in the world, we can't focus on our full potential, our full divine potential. Most of us are spending a lot of time defending, fighting the world. When I say defending, I mean defending ourselves, proving ourselves. And honestly, this is what I feel is keeping us from our divine destiny. So in this video, I want to cover 3 main points that I feel are contributing to the discourse of our image. All of these points are unrelated but related, and I do feel they need to be addressed. So with that being said, let's have an unfiltered conversation. So my first point is, we continue to promote hoe culture, HOE culture. I'm not the fun police. I don't believe that we as adults can't have entertainment that make us feel good and, sexy, independent, strong as women, whatever. However, I remember when I was growing up and how certain things just weren't for public consumption. Nowadays, there's a deep level of vulgarity intertwined in all of the words, all of the visuals, all of the outfits, the actions of your average woman, your prominent women in society that ultimately have influenced these very promiscuous movements, and we just don't call it out on a grand level. And if we're going to continue to ignore this fact, we will never begin to draw back our power as a black womanhood, the divinely ordained first women of the world. We setting the standard for class, respect, and beauty. There's nothing sacred anymore. Everything is out in the open. Our voice, everything we say has to be so vulgar. Our body, everything has to be seen. We say the first thing that comes to our mind without really thinking about the repercussions. And the worst part is nowadays, things are just being justified through the lens of women empowerment. But of course, I have to contest, what is so empowering about exposing yourself on camera? showing the world your body? What is empowering about degrading your men through words and actions? And when I say our men, I mean Black men. And I understand this isn't all of us, but even with those of us who may disagree, we don't speak up. We don't say, wow, this is wrong. This is too much, on a grand level. I'm not talking about in the comments. We don't hold anyone who looks like us accountable to speak up on their 1 million plus platforms. If anything, we work in the reverse and we support the narratives, the images that don't work in our best interest as divine women. We haven't even established publicly who we are, what we stand for as Black women. What is the standard of a Black woman? The divine woman, the first woman. So to me, straight up, the solution is, because we talk enough about the problem, but the solution is we need to hold people accountable. We need to discuss the offensive, filthy language and behavior. And there needs to be a clear understanding of what is okay and what is not. What is rated 18 plus and what is not. What is appropriate for young women and girls to wear, watch, listen to, and what is not. Begin to roll it back. I know we've exposed so much in so little time, but we need to begin to roll it back and bring back traditional values. Certain things just aren't for everyone to see. Because right now the lines are blurred, and for whatever reason, we just don't care about what we by default are communicating to our young people in the future generations by not saying anything at all. There are no clear boundaries. There is no respect for our image as a whole. So my second point is we continue to put down our Black men. One of my spiritual mentors always says, we are allowing the algorithm to create consciousness, the technological algorithm, meaning we are allowing social media, the media, the internet, entertainment, movies, commercials, all of it to destroy the image and dichotomy between Black men and women. And we, in the last 10 years, have put on a bow on top of that problem by continuing to negatively speak about our men for the sake of public consumption and entertainment. And let me be clear, I know that this is a two-sided wound. I know it's words being flown on both ends, but I'm talking about us right now. Ultimately, we are making the relationship between Black women and men less and less desirable. By talking about, by degrading and psychologically erasing the value of the Black man in our mind, our words, our actions. And with that, justifying it further by attacking each other with the images and perceptions systematically created for both of our demise. So you hear too many Black men in jail. All Black men cheat. There are no good Black men left. They don't love Black women. All of these narratives, but let me tell you that I don't care about what they say. And I say they, meaning the algorithm. And sometimes, it's a systematic thing. Systemically, we've been conditioned to believe these things. Even amongst our own loved ones, people who have had negative experiences, we've allowed those negative experiences to influence us, right? But I can tell you that all of this is as true as we make it. We create prophecy by allowing this system to convince us that our divine mates don't exist. And I really do believe that it is that simple. And as soon as we can begin to fix our words, fix our actions and align ourselves with what we want, not the fake alignment, not the soft girl and, this being single until I find, all of these little pockets of whatever these are pockets of, but truly opening yourself and allowing yourself to not be influenced by anything other than yourself, right? So, and I say that even speaking to, we know that there's agendas that have been set forth to eliminate our Black men and tear apart the Black family since 1619. We don't talk about it on a grand level, but we know this. But yet you see more and more and more women comfortable with talking down about the Black man on a public level, every podcast, every social media post, expressing their dissatisfaction. And then after that, they turn around to other situationships, and not towards the men who were actually created for you, the men whom nature designed for us, the men whom are true equal counterparts in strength, power, beauty, and divine essence. And that's all I have to say about that. My last point is we don't know our purpose as individuals. We don't know our purpose as a Black womanhood. And I'll say it like this. We are in a matrix, in a loop. Most of the time we're working towards an image of success that isn't even ours. That image was put there and reiterated by society over and over, or sometimes, in our families, degree, apartment, success, this, that, luxury, whatever. I'm not talking about this. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not talking about that specifically, right? I'm talking about the glorification of someone else's idea of success and not your own. I find that most of the time we're focusing on that while we have no morality, no spirituality, no individual relationships outside of the church with God, no knowledge of the universe and its laws, no true understanding of ourselves and who we are and what we like, And instead of trying to figure it out, we continue to run this race towards an image of success that we didn't even put in our own mind. In my opinion, though, this way of being is you not having informed yourself of who you truly are. So, is this even you? Or are you mimicking the matrix that has set forth a precedence for you, an image for you? And when I say image, I mean low image, like I mentioned earlier. Again, we are behaving lower than what nature has created for us. So with that, and in closing, I want us to begin to seek the truth of who we are. Give yourself time and grace, that patience with yourself. Begin to cultivate a better understanding of who you are, what you're feeling, what you want to feel, what is the current condition of your existence. Because what we do right now, how we handle ourselves, how we present ourselves, how we treat ourselves is only a reflection of what we are vibrating on the inside. And if you have not established those spiritual connections, then you won't, let me say that again. If you have not established a spiritual connection with yourself, then you cannot improve your divine condition, right? So there's work to be done there. And you have to step back. You have to spend time alone. You have to spend time in nature. You have to get away from the noise. You have to truly study yourself and what you're feeling. Because if you don't know what you're radiating, what are you radiating? Are you radiating happiness, dissatisfaction, annoyance, stress, love, hatred, joy, rejection, abandonment? This is where you start. And from here, you can identify what needs to happen in order to move forward in a righteous direction. You can establish that spiritual connection with yourself. And then here comes the boundaries and what you know you're going to do and what you're not going to do. What you know is right and what you know is wrong. Holding yourself accountable and holding other people accountable, right? And of course, all of these points that I've made are, like I said, unrelated but related. However, all of these points have also contributed to the saturation of our image, right? So the lines have been blurred for a long time. And a lot of this is because we have an identity crisis as Black women. So to push us forward, we must make sure we are really studying who we are, establishing these boundaries as a woman, as women, and as a womanhood. There are things we are just not going to do, not going to accept, things that are just not okay. Not anymore. So with that being said, thank you for joining me on this episode of The Conscious Fae. Please, everyone, if you're not following my Instagram page, it's The Conscious Fae. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like, comment this video.
So now I attribute that to hip hop culture. It's all intertwined now. The sports, the music, the fashion, and they're trying to attribute that to Black people. That's not who we are. That's not who we are at all. So that's why I let the sister speak to you about the sisters. And now I'm going to tell you something about these brothers that we have out here. They're saying nothing. Like I said, all this talking about is basketball, how they messed up the culture. There's no Tony Brown Jr. There's no Gil Noble. like it is. There's none of that. So, as a matter of fact, let me just give you an example of what's out here. It's crazy what these grown men are talking about and occupying their time with. These are grown men.
Okay, so y'all agreed to meet up in Las Vegas to fist fight.
Yeah, because he...
Why Las Vegas?
Because
neither
that's
one of y'all from there.
Nah, he lived there.
Oh, he lives there?
Ruger live in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Younger boy live in Vegas. That's like when niggas go to duck they shit at. Like when they want to go duck they shit, they move to Vegas, man. You know what I'm saying? Niggas get, they say gangsters get rich and move to Miami. But when niggas trying to duck they shit, they move to Vegas. So,
okay, so he already lives in Vegas.
Yeah.
But you don't live in Vegas.
Nah.
So you
I stay
actually
in
fly
Chicago,
to
then I
Vegas.
stay up in Houston. I stay in Chicago, I stay in Houston.
Chicago, Houston. Okay, so you actually buy a plane ticket and fly to Las Vegas.
Yeah, so we can get them bitches on.
Again, we don't have brothers like Tony Brown. Check out what a brother like Tony Brown used to talk about compared to what cats today is talking about.
For me, to want them to be aired, because the black community's history is not captured, because the black community has been indoctrinated.
And this is another one of our black great journalists, which had something to say, opposed to these brothers now. Like I said, they just talking about how they destroyed the community, or what Michael Jordan said to them, or just something stupid, but this is a little bit about Gil Noble.
Gil Noble, a local television pioneer here in the New York market whose impact was felt nationwide. For years, he hosted the Emmy Award-winning public affairs program Like It Is on WABC. Now, on that program, he interviewed a who's who of black leaders and celebrities, and he shined a spotlight on the African-American experience before a lot of other folks did. His colleague Sandra Bookman takes a look back at his life.
What is the salvation possibility for these kids of ours?
He told it like it was for 43 years. Gil Noble became the voice of a community. His show shed light on the untold stories of African Americans.
He was absolutely a genius in how he would ask the questions that no one else would ask.
Like It Is debuted during the racially charged 1960s. It allowed Noble to bring attention to the African American struggle for advancement and to give viewers a rare look at events, current and past, through an African American perspective.
The conversations around dinner tables, conversation on trains, conversation at cocktail parties would be, did you hear what Gil said?
There was practically no one Gil Noble didn't interview. Activists and actors, entertainers and sports stars all sat for Like It Is.
When he put together his format to be able to call together some of the best minds, not just the most popular, but some of the best thinkers.
Could I trouble you for some tailor-made blues?
Sure.
From his passionate love of jazz to his deep commitment to truth, Gil Noble shared it all with his audience and his community. Congressman Charlie Rangel told us for over 40 years he was perhaps the nation's most important black journalist, bringing the struggle for civil rights and black equality into the homes of millions of Americans.
There's nothing like that on media right now. We only have the BS, because this is the destruction in which we're partaking in if we don't snap out of it and actually do something about it. Okay, and again, as I said, we don't have any leaders anymore. You're not going to see Martin Luther King. You're not going to see Malcolm X. You're not going to see Reverend Al Sharpton out there. You're not going to see Medgar Evers. You're not going to see any of these leaders. Jesse Jackson. You're not going to. They silenced all of them. So all our leaders now are these entertainers. And again, these brothers are talking about nothing. Here's a little bit more. Like I said, this is what they're consuming their time with.
You establishing position against the great Shaquille O'Neal. Face up, turn up, mid-range. This is exactly the type of shit you're talking about.
You don't know how hard that shit was, though. But like I said, this was a younger Shaq. This was when, I had to put him in being one of the best athletes at the time on the planet. He was young, he was mobile, and he was seasoned enough to know how to use his weight. See, when he was younger, he was just straight bully ball. But as he got older, he learned how to use his weight and just leaning on cat. Like, Shaq is a big dude, yo. Like, and he just know how to lean, and then he can roll either way with it. So and you saw the way he was moving. He was sliding his feet and everything. That's how you know that was the young Shaq right there too. So, that was a great game, man. It was one of the many times that we were disappointed up there in the Rose Garden. But man, it was always a great series playing against them, and we had to take it for everything.
Now, like I said, this is what we're talking about. Nothing. Or we're worried about the newest sneakers, 40-year-old men worrying about the newest Jordans. When they got, kids or family they need to take care of, or I don't know, but we need to get it together, and we can't focus on what they're perpetuating and how they're depicting us. We have to take back our name, image, and likeness. We have to get back to who we are as a people. This is what we're concerned about nowadays.
Hip-hop icon Beanie Sigel talks about his beef with Gillie the Kid. Now, as we all know, Birdman brought this back up a few days ago about Gillie the Kid getting slapped up by Beanie Sigel and Birdman losing all respect for Gillie the Kid. Well, Gillie the Kid made his comment saying Birdman brought it up just because Birdman didn't have nothing going on, and Gillie said he's bigger than Birdman right now. Well, through the archives, Beanie Sigel had this to say about his beef with Gillie the Kid.
Hollywood, when I got Hollywood, I flew you out the next day, and I said, I want to dress my age. Hollywood said, Uncle Shay, you called me Uncle Shay from day one. You said, what else you need from me? I said, I need loyalty and I need honesty. He said, Uncle Shay, I'm going to ride with you till the wheels fall off. And when the wheels fall off, I'm going to get out and walk with you to my...
All right, so the guy that Shannon Sharpe is talking about is this guy right here. This is him, Hollywood, a.k.a. Dick Print. As I said in the previous video, this man is Shannon Sharpe's stylist. This is also Shannon Sharpe's lover. I'm telling you what I know. This guy, get away from that area. Hollywood, a.k.a. Dick Print. This is Shannon Sharpe's lover. Shannon Sharpe is a homosexual.
Now listen to this clown, Steven Jackson, from the All That Smoke podcast. And what they're comparing, or what people have compared, was, would you rather have $300 million like James Harden and no rings, or 7 rings like Robert Horry and only $54 million? Now listen to what this clown Steven Jackson had to say. This is a dumb nigga.
And I'm tired of seeing this shit on Instagram coming from basketball players, and that's why a lot of y'all losers. It's no way, if you ain't come from nothing, then you understand why people say they would rather $50 million and a championship. Because I care about being the best at what the gift God gave me. It would suck to play the game of basketball and never say you was a champion. You was never the best in the world. 50 million is enough for people who come from nothing. We know how to make that work. That 50 million is like 200 million to us. But it goes to show the people who struggled and the people who didn't struggle. Talking about, I'll take 100 million and fuck the championship. Nah, I'll take 50 million and that championship.
Stupid.
But you're not a winner.
Stupid.
You don't want to be the best. You just want to maintain and just go along. Nah, that's the difference between a lot of champions and y'all. Yeah, y'all made y'all money, but y'all wasn't the best at nothing.
Now that's just a dumb nigga. Cause give me $300 million. You could take all them championships that you want. That's the okie doke. That's the rope dope. You know, that's the, you got hoodwinked. But let me just tell you something. He keeps talking about, oh, that's people that come from nothing. America is 248 years old. let me tell you something, people, and this may come as a surprise. There's no rich white Americans as a whole, and there's no rich black Americans. Definitely not as a whole, right? If you used to tell me some African king or something like that, or some African princess dude that I just met in the street, his people might have some money somewhere, I might believe that. But we continue to try to act like we have money and we have this wealth, and we don't. And we don't. When I say wealth, I mean, in monetary means. Because he's talking about he'll take 50 million and a championship. That's so stupid. Okay? Again, this country is 248 years old. So when people talk about, the first, like they say about Kamala Harris, they say she's the first black woman to become vice president. She's the first woman, period. Again, there's going to be a bunch of firsts in this country. When are we going to stop saying first this and the first that, right? Because this is a young country, so nobody has money. But what we have to do is take back our name, image, and likeness from these dumb niggers and these thoughts and these hoes. The Glorrillas, the Sexy Reds, the Meg Thee Stallions that's putting out these images of us. And I don't have nothing. I don't know these girls personally, or these young women personally, but I know they're being pimped by the system. They're being pimped by the system.
Are you anti-Semitic?
Anti-Semitic?
Many of the things that I've read about you, and you've made a mention a couple of times about the Jews and everything, and I'm wondering if you are personally anti-Semitic.
No. How can I be anti-Semitic when the Arabs are half the Muslim world is Semitic? If I was anti-Semitic, I'd be anti-Arab and anti-everything else. No, I think that in this country, there's one mistake that the Jews make. They put themselves in a position where whenever anybody gives an objective analysis of the role that they play, they defend themselves by accusing you of being anti-Semitic. And a Negro is not anti-Semitic when he says that the man who's exploiting him in his community is white, because it is a white man who owns all the stores. Now, is it an accident that these whites who own these stores are Jewish? If it's an accident, then the fact that he says the Jew on the corner is exploiting me isn't an anti-Semitic statement. It's just more descriptive of the man who's exploiting him.
So the young prophet, Kanye West, had been trying to tell us in his own way, but people had got caught up in his delivery and the way he was delivering his message, but they weren't hearing what he was saying. So when these brothers go and they get educated, people want to, say they're anti-Semitic, they're, racist. But let me just let you listen to what this young brother had to say, or this brother had to say.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
Heard me. My people, they need to hear me saying out loud what the truth is. There's a bunch of people in Hollywood that are actors, that play basketball, that play sports, that are in music, that know what I'm saying, that feel what I'm saying, and they're happy that I'm saying what I'm saying. It's not a contract.
There's a Jewish person right there controlling the country, the Jewish people controlling that who gets the best video or not, controlling what the media says about me.
It's a person, not Jewish. Let me just say one thing.
But they are, though. That's the only thing. It just so happens that they are.
Black rednecks, who are they?
These would be blacks who came out of the Southern culture and who carried that culture with them north into the urban ghettos, and into the ghettos of the South for that matter, and who have not moved out of that culture since. Over the years, both blacks and whites have moved away from that culture. But in the poorest and worst of the ghetto areas, there are lots of people who have not. And these kinds of, it's a culture which didn't do whites any good, and it's certainly not doing blacks any good today. And the tragedy is that people regard this culture as somehow the authentic black culture, and therefore you're not to interfere with it. It's to be allowed to, and so they're cheering people on. It reminds me of a scene in the Blue Max where this general is encouraging this daredevil pilot to do all kinds of wild stunts, you see, knowing that the guy's going to kill himself if he keeps doing this, and therefore the general will be rid of a political problem. Now, I don't think that the white liberals are doing this deliberately, but I think the net results are the same. They are cheering blacks on and doing things that are absolutely self-destructive.
What's the difference between a black redneck and a white redneck?
Color.
Same kind of people, same attitudes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and same kind of results. One of the things I point out in this book is that, as late as the First World War, when mental tests were given in the Army, there were whites from any number of southern states who scored lower on those tests than blacks from northern states. So that anyone who comes out of that culture is likely to score lower on mental tests, to do less well in intellectual areas, whether they're black or white.
So now, we put all that together. It was a lot to digest. But the point being is, we have to take back our name, image, and likeness. Because who we are and what some of us have become is not sustainable going forward. So all the black people, please stay away from the niggas. Don't listen to none of that music. Don't let your kids listen to none of that music. Because again, first of all, they're horrible rappers. They're putting our kids in a bad light. They're teaching our kids nothing because they know nothing. Most of these guys are dropouts. A lot of these girls are dropouts. Or even if they went to some sort of school, they didn't learn anything. Not anything of value that's going to help us. So people, please, this is another challenge. Let's take back our name, image, and likeness and be the godly people